Now I will read out from the book Reincarnation and Immortality, the topic Karma and Fate. About the topic Karma and Fate. From Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, one quote I will read out now. To whatever object a man's own mind is attached, to that he goes strenuously together with his deed. And having obtained the end of whatever deed he does on earth, he returns again from that world, which is the temporary reward of his deed. Next quote by Emerson. We must infer our destiny from the preparation. We are driven by instinct to have innumerable experiences which are of no visible value, and we may revolve through many lives before we shall assimilate or exhaust them. Next quote by Abu T. Tarif. The best days of man's lives are those in which he renders service. The great Aryan law giver of ancient times, Manu, tells us that we cannot gather what we do not sow. As we plant the tree, so it will grow. The kind of seeds we sow, according to that, we must reap. There is no such thing as chance in nature. Nothing happens accidentally. Good fortune or misfortune, pleasing conditions or trials come to us because consciously or unconsciously we attract them. We draw them into our life. They come as the reactions of our own actions. Whenever we do something ignoble, at some time we must suffer from it, not because there is a relentless providence whose task it is to punish us, but because our own better self has a sense of justice, and until we make amends for our unworthy action, it will not allow us to feel free. A man may murder another in secret, no one may know nothing about it, yet his own thought of it will haunt him until he can no longer bear it, and he feels relief in confessing it. Does this not show that we cannot evade the greater forces of life? Again, I am repeating this question. Does this not show that we cannot evade the greater forces of life? We create a moral obligation by our deeds, and however we may try to avoid it, sooner or later we are forced to pay every debt we incur. Until that is done, we cannot make the best use of new opportunities. But it is not only the fruit of our mistakes that we gather, we reap blessings also as we deserve them, and they become permanently ours because we have earned them. In India, this great idea of karma, which is in Sanskrit term meaning action and reaction, cause and effect, is deeply rooted. Western scientists take full account of the law of cause and effect on the physical plane, but the Indian sages claim that it operates just as truly on the higher planes. Our present life is the culmination of our past. Our today is the result of our yesterday, and tomorrow will be the result of today. Our future life will be what we make it now by our thoughts and deeds and aspirations. Buddha told his disciples that man is the product of his own thought. He is made up of his thought because thoughts are a great deal more vital than actions. Everything which happens in the physical has its counterpart in the spiritual. It exists in seed form there. Our actions, therefore, cannot be productive of good unless our thoughts are first brought into harmony with the spiritual forces of our being. Some people believe that it is their fate to be born in certain surroundings and conditions, that they are powerless to change them. So it is useless to exert themselves to counteract them. This is a very erroneous notion, but from the spiritual and from the material point of view, there is no such thing as permanence in this world of impermanency, where a little misfortune comes to us. Then why should we take it as a final issue in life? It has a purpose, no doubt. These passing conditions have a great deal to teach us. When a man is confronted with loss or failure, he should not regard it as a great curse over which he should helplessly brood. On the contrary, it holds a valuable lesson for him. It may be that through it he is paying off a debt, which, when paid, will free from some binding condition. People of small understanding who take this span of existence to be all in all cannot help but resent it when they see someone who has more than they or who succeeds where they fail. But if they could grasp the fundamental principle that nothing happens accidentally, that each one receives what he earns, they would not have such harsh, bitter feelings towards their fellow men or towards divine providence. The law of karma explains why things take place as do in this world. A person is born deformed or blind. If we try to explain it by saying that it is God's will, we make God whimsical and arbitrary. The Indo Aryan sages did not throw the blame on providence, they found within the individual soul the elements which created the condition. Again, I am repeating the line, the Indo Aryan sages did not throw the blame on providence, they found within the individual soul the elements which created the condition. We may not suffer the consequence of our act at once, but a record of it is graven or of, on our own life and character. And even though we may escape from the human law, we cannot escape from the divine law of which we are a part. That will find us out wherever we may go and call us to account. Thus, we bring ourselves whatever overtakes us. We reward ourselves and we punish ourselves. Therefore, wise men are not over eager to seize momentary pleasures, which later on may lead to unhappiness. So, therefore, again I am repeating, therefore, wise men are not over eager to seize momentary pleasures, which later on may lead to unhappiness. If we yield to our lower impulses, we block the way to spiritual things, and our life will be full of misery. But if through our thoughts and actions and aspirations, day by day and little by little, we make ourselves fitting instruments for God's power to express itself, we shall work out our salvation and the salvation of others. A person who looks wholly to his own good, who thinks solely of his own interests, is of small mind and attains only small ends. Our good must inculcate the good of others. Our happiness must inculcate the happiness of others. We cannot have any happiness or peace without including those who stand next to us. We must cultivate a bigger point of view. We must not consider immediate returns only. That is the way we are trapped. We yield to the fascination of momentary glory, and when it fades, a uh, mark of unhappiness and resentment against our own self is left. Again, I'm repeating this line. That is the way we are trapped. We yield to the fascination of momentary glory, and when it fades, a mark of unhappiness and resentment against our own self is left. The greatest curse is when we doubt ourselves, and nothing awakens doubt within our own soul so quickly as our failures, which are often the result of misguided zeal. We do things hastily. We do things hastily, unthinkingly. When the reactions come, we feel powerless to fortune, and ill fortune are justly earned by themselves, that no one can give them something unless they deserve it, and no one can deprive them of what they have earned. They will have a different attitude towards life. They will refrain from doing harm to others because they will understand that it will react upon their own life. We cannot have a slave without being a slave. We cannot make another unhappy without being unhappy ourselves. We have the power to express ourselves through the best avenues. They are all open to us. A man can act just as well on the right course as on the wrong. The wrong way reacts upon him, brings a blemish on his life, mars his own happiness and that of his fellow beings. We not avoid these reactions by taking proper care before the seed is rooted in the soul of life. So, again, I'm repeating this question, why not avoid these reactions by taking proper care before the seeds is rooted in the soil of life? Someone does us an injury, indignation rises in our heart. We begin to brood over it until it seizes upon our mind, and we give way to revengeful act. Then we suffer and make others suffer. The highest course is to take precautions at the very outset. We must so order our life on the basis of higher understanding that these reactions cannot occur. There are people who wish to have all happiness and no misery, but that is not the way life runs. We cannot take the one without the other. We have to learn to maintain our balance. When we meet with good fortune, we must not become our elite. Again, I am repeating this line. When we meet with good fortune, we must not become over elated. And when we meet with ill fortune, we must not be overwhelmed by it. So, and when we meet with ill fortune, we must not be overwhelmed by it. When we have the proper understanding spirit, it is not for us a question of how much we have or what we have. It is a question of what benefit we may reap from each experience of life. A great man benefits whatever he is placed. If he if he is placed under privation, he finds his exaltation there. If he is surrounded by riches, instead of being haughty and aggressive, he becomes the friend of the poor. He understands the law of life, so he is not carried away by outer condition, nor does he swing to extremes. Sometimes we are not able to see why certain things come to us in this life. We do not seem to have done anything to deserve them. Perhaps the cause lies in a past life. Our present existence has not sprung from nothing. We have bought we have brought our ideas, our instincts, our good feelings, and also our obstacles with us. But that does not mean that since this life is the product of karma, its conditions are inevitable. No matter what we have brought, we can adjust and readjust and remold. Even our body may be changed by our thought and action and by the atmosphere we create within ourselves. Life is like a scale. The weight of evil may be on one side, but we cannot counterbalance. It is on the other side by loving, constructive thought and good action. A man must become strong and he grows in strength. He realizes his inherent nature and ceases to weep and wail and find fault with the conditions of his life. He lifts his head and goes through every sort of condition, trusting in the divine. Remember that no man is self sufficient. He may have a brilliant intellect, a healthy body, many things to his advantage, but never for one moment must we imagine that we do not need the support of divine providence. He is a mad man who thinks he can get on without God. The more we know of life, the more we know of higher principles, the more eager we shall be to ally ourselves with divinity. All ideas of fate and bondage vanish when we throw off the shackles of self consciousness. As soon as we have found our connections with divinity, our individual responsibility ends. God becomes responsible for us. And when our responsibility is in His hands, our life cannot be productive of harm. Our task is to cleanse ourselves. We should cleanse our mind, our heart, the whole sphere of our consciousness, that the great life may shine upon us and through us. Life of activity offers the opportunity of tremendous blessings to human it. We wipe out our past through our actions and also we accumulate fresh causes for unhappiness. We must not be in haste. If we believe in prayer, let us pray before we act. If we have any idea of philosophy or religion, let us take that as our companion in all our tasks. Let us never leave it. It is the greatest support we can have. When we do not possess the sense of consecration, we lose our opportunities. So when we do not possess the sense of consecration, we lose our opportunities. Work is always productive. It can be productive of incalculable good, also can be productive of harm to us. In all depends up, it all depends upon ourselves. We have enough free will to choose our course. A man can love the good so much that he is willing to forsake all evil for evil for it, and he can also form the habit of evil association and vulgar thoughts. Habit is a tremendous influence in our life. We can cultivate the habit of loving and doing good to others, and by thus eliminating all that is base and wiping out our past, we can mold a beautiful future. All our happiness lies in the dawn of wisdom. We do not love darkness. We never feel comfortable or happy or free when we are in darkness. Therefore, we should always march towards the light. It is not the kind of action which determines our merit. It is the motive. It is the motive which regenerates every human being. Where or how we are placed is of little consequence. It is what our feeling and thought and motive are. If we are actuated by nobility of purpose, no matter how insignificant our starting point may be, we shall overcome all obstacles and attain our ultimate goal. All the harsh, discordant feeling which dominate our life now will drop away, and we shall realize that life is a constant and abundant blessing. We shall be happy that we are living, that we can serve, and that we can radiate God's grace through our thoughts and actions. So, this is all about today's session. And at the end, I will say, Mande Purushottama, Mande Purushottama, Mande Purushottama.